The commercials show us scenes of pure, unadulterated joy. A perfect decorated tree glimmering with lights. Families gathered around a crackling fireplace, laughing, sharing gifts, wrapped in cozy sweaters and even cozier emotions. It's a picture postcard of connection, peace, and belonging. This is the Christmas that is sold to us. The one we see in the movies, the one we're supposed to have. It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of year. But for a lot of us, that postcard feels like a fantasy. What if the holidays are actually the most stressful time of the year? What if the forced cheer feels hollow? What if family gatherings feel a lot less like a warm hug and more like a high stakes performance, where you have to play a part you've long outgrown? The pressure to be happy, to be present, to be on, can be completely overwhelming. For millions of us, the only true escape isn't in a mug of hot cocoa. The only real comfort and silence is found in a different world entirely. A world where we're in control, where the objectives are clear, and our ability to succeed is undeniable. A world that glows back at us from a screen, offering a refuge from the messy and often painful demands of reality. But this leads to the most important question of all. When does that escape into our favorite games stop being a healthy way to cope and start becoming a way to hide? Let's talk about it. Before we get into why the digital worlds of video games are so appealing, we have to be honest about why the real world, especially during the holidays, can be so incredibly difficult. It's a strange paradox, a season officially dedicated to joy that often does the exact opposite. And this isn't a niche experience. A 2023 poll by the American Psychological Association found that for about 2 in 5 Americans, stress actually increases during the holidays. And a YouGov survey commissioned by Xbox found that among people who play video games, 54% of them specifically use them to deal with holiday stress. So what is it about this time of year that drives us to seek such a powerful escape? First, there's the sheer, crushing weight of expectations. Holidays are a massive cultural project, and the main product being sold is a fantasy version of happiness. We're bombarded with messages about how we should feel: joyful, grateful, surrounded by loved ones, when your internal reality doesn't match that. The result isn't just disappointment, it's a profound sense of failure. It feels like everyone else got the memo. You're the only one who can't get into the spirit. Family gatherings turn into a stage. You put on the costume of a happy son, the successful daughter, the well-adjusted cousin, or the cool uncle or aunt. We perform, we smile, we deflect questions about our job, our life, and our choices. It's exhausting. Then there is the loneliness. For those who have lost loved ones, have strained family relationships, or are just far away from their support systems, the holidays act as a massive magnifying glass on that absence. While the world celebrates togetherness, the silence in an empty apartment can feel deafening. Social media becomes a minefield of curated joy. Each happy family photo is a small sting. It's not just being alone, it's feeling isolated in a sea of prescribed connection. This is a powerful reason to seek out other forms of community, even virtual ones. In fact, one survey found that nearly 6 in 10 respondents agreed that video games are a great way to interact with family and friends who can't be there in person. On top of all of this is a very real biological factor. The season itself, for many, the short dark days of winter can trigger seasonal affective disorder. It's a form of depression directly linked to the changing seasons. As we get less sunlight, our body's internal clock gets disrupted. This can cause a drop in serotonin, the neurotransmitter that affects our mood, and an overproduction of melatonin, the hormone that makes us tired. The symptoms are unmistakable: a persistently low mood, no energy, trouble concentrating, and more anxiety. The darkness outside makes the Globe monitor feel like a safe, welcoming fire. And finally, let's talk about family dynamics. Families are, for lack of a better term, complex. When we gather for the holidays, we often don't just step into a room. We step back in time. We revert to old roles: the responsible older sibling, the rebellious youngest, the quiet peacemaker. Long buried tensions have a way of bubbling to the surface, and you might be a successful adult in your own life, but at the family dinner table, you can suddenly feel like you are 15 again, being grilled about your choices. It's not just about avoiding a fight with your uncle over politics. It's about reclaiming the sense of self. Family dynamic can so easily erode. It's no wonder so many of us look for a fire, even if that fire is a digital one. So, the real world is stressful, especially during the holidays. Now for the next question. What is it about video games, specifically, that makes them such an effective sanctuary? Why not books or movies? The answer is in the unique psychological architecture of games themselves. They aren't passive distractions. They are masterfully engineered experiences that cater directly to our deepest human needs. To get to this, we need to talk about something called the self-determination theory. It's a cornerstone of motivational psychology that says that all humans have three core psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When these needs are met, we thrive, and when they're not, we feel anxious and unfulfilled. The holidays can be a masterclass in thwarting these needs, but video games, they're designed from the ground up to satisfy them. Let's start with autonomy. This is the need to feel in control of our own lives. At a holiday gathering, your autonomy is often the first casualty. You're expected to be at a certain place at a certain time, talking to certain people. Your choices feel limited. Now contrast that with booting up a game like The Witcher 3 or Skyrim. The moment you pick up that controller, you are in charge. You decide where to go, what to do, who to talk to, what quests you want to complete, and how you go about them. The choice is yours. This restoration of agency is incredibly powerful. It's a direct antidote to feeling controlled. Next is competence. This is the need to feel effective and capable. In real life, it's easy to feel incompetent. Maybe you feel like you're failing to live up to family expectations, or you can't just assemble that new toy for your nephew. The feedback loop of life is often slow and ambiguous. Games, on the other hand, are engines of competence. They're built on clear goals, measurable progress, and instant feedback. You defeat an enemy, you solve a puzzle, you complete a quest, and you are rewarded with experience points and new gear. Your character levels up, becoming visibly stronger. This constant, rewarding feedback loop directly counters feelings of inadequacy. The game tells you, again and again, you are succeeding. You are good at this. Finally, there's relatedness. This is the need to feel connected to others. As we discussed, the holidays can crank up loneliness to an excruciating degree. The games offer a unique form of connection. Multiplayer games, from the cooperative chaos of Overcooked to epic raids in World of Warcraft, allow us to connect with friends and strangers around a common goal. For those with social anxiety, this can be a game changer. A recent ESA report found that 64% of players rely on games to combat loneliness. Even single-player games can foster connection through features like those in Death Stranding, where you help other players you never meet by leaving supplies or building structures. You feel part of something larger than yourself. Beyond these core needs, games are brilliant at creating a state of flow, that feeling of being completely absorbed in an activity. In a state of flow, time distorts, self-consciousness fades, and the worries of the real world just cease to exist. Games are flow-generating machines. Their challenges scale with your skill, keeping you perfectly balanced between frustration and boredom. This deep immersion is the very definition of a mental vacation. This is why cozy games like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing are so popular. They are the digital equivalent of curling up with a warm blanket. But even high-action games that serve this purpose, it's not just an escape. It can become a cherished ritual, a modern form of comfort. We've established that using games to decompress and connect is a valid and often healthy coping mechanism. There's a line that can be crossed. There's a crucial difference between a healthy escape and a harmful pattern of avoidance. So, how do we know when we've crossed that line? This is where we need to talk about the cycle. It's a self-reinforcing loop that's easy to fall into. And the holidays are the perfect breeding ground for it. It works like this. First, you feel bad, stressed, lonely, and anxious. This is the trigger. Second, you turn to a game to escape that feeling. You play for a few hours, and it works. You're in a state of flow. The negative emotions recede, and this provides a temporary relief. But then, step 3. While you were in the digital world, the real world didn't stop. You might have skipped a meal, stayed up way too late, ignored texts from a friend. You neglected your real-world responsibilities. This leads to step 4, the consequences. The problems you were avoiding are now worse. The messy room is messier. Sleep deprivation makes you more irritable, and the friend you ignored feels hurt. This brings us to the most insidious step, the crash. When you finally put the controller down, the relief fades, and you're hit with a wave of guilt, shame, and even greater anxiety. You feel bad for wasting time or neglecting your life. The original negative feeling is now compounded exponentially. Which, of course, leads back to the beginning. You feel even worse, so you pick up the controller yet again. The game becomes the only source of positive feelings, creating a dependency that's incredibly hard to break. So what are the concrete red flags of this? First is neglect. This applies to you and your responsibilities. Are you skipping meals or hygiene? Is your sleep schedule completely destroyed? Are real-world tasks piling up because gaming is taking priority over everything else? The second is emotional volatility. A healthy escape should leave you refreshed. A harmful avoidance pattern does the opposite. Do you feel intense irritability or anxiety when you can't play? This suggests the game is no longer a tool you're using, but the sole source of your emotional stability. The third is social withdrawal. This is a critical one. Are you actively turning down real-world social invitations to game instead? It's one thing to play online with friends who live far away. It's another to ignore the friend down the street who wants to grab coffee because you'd rather be grinding for loot. The fourth is the post-game crash. Pay close attention how you feel after a long gaming session. Do you feel energized, or do you feel empty, guilty, or even more depressed? If a gaming session consistently ends with a wave of negative emotions, it's a powerful sign the activity is no longer serving a restorative purpose. Healthy escapism sounds like this. Today was incredibly stressful. I'm going to play for an hour to clear my head so I have the energy to engage again later. It's a conscious, temporary break. Problematic avoidance sounds like this. I cannot handle that family dinner tonight. I'm going to just lock myself in my room and play all night so I don't have to face any of it. Here, the game is being used as a bunker, and while a bunker keeps you safe for a while, you can't live in it forever. Realizing your relationship with gaming might be leaning towards avoidance can be a tough pill to swallow. But the answer isn't to demonize the tool that's brought you comfort. It's about learning to use it with intention. It's about shifting from being a passenger in the cycle of avoidance to the driver of your own well-being. The first, most powerful step is to cultivate mindfulness. Before you instinctively reach for the controller, just pause. Ask yourself, why am I doing this right now? Try to name the feeling driving the impulse. Is it boredom? Loneliness? Anger? Anxiety? Just naming the emotion is the first step into taming it. It makes the behavior a conscious choice, not an unconscious habit. Once you have that awareness, you can move on to intentional gaming. This means you schedule and control it. Set a timer. I'm going to play for 90 minutes to de-stress, and when it goes off, I'll stop. This simple act reasserts your control. You can even choose your game based on your need. Feeling lonely? Pick a co-op game to play with a friend. Feeling powerless? Choose a challenging single-player game to experience mastery. Feeling anxious? A calm, cozy game like House Flipper might be the perfect digital balm. A hugely effective strategy is to adopt the mindset of gaming and instead of gaming or. It involves pairing gaming with another non-digital activity. For example, I will play for an hour and then I will go for a 15-minute walk. This is especially good if you struggle with SAD, or even a short burst of daylight can help you. Or I will game for a bit and then I will join the family for dessert is another alternative. It allows you to take the break you need without completely withdrawing. There's also a practical harm reduction techniques. Use blue light filters on your screens at night. Stand up and stretch between matches. Keep a bottle of water next to you instead of a large bottle of Mountain Dew or gamer fuel. These small acts of self-care are reminders that your physical body is still your priority. Finally, and this is the most important part, recognize when the problem is too big to solve on your own. There is no shame in asking for help. Sometimes excessive gaming is a symptom of a deeper issue like severe depression or an anxiety disorder. Talking to a trusted friend or seeking professional help from a therapist, especially one who specializes in gaming disorder, can give you the tools you need. A game can give you a shield, but a therapist can help you understand what you're shielding yourself from and how to face it. The goal isn't to be a person who no longer needs to escape. The goal is to build a real life that you don't feel the constant, desperate need to escape from. The holiday season will always be complicated. It's a time of intense light and deep shadows, profound connection and stark loneliness. It's messy, beautiful, and stressful. And in the face of that, it's completely understandable why we seek refuge in the ordered, rewarding worlds of video games. They offer us control when we feel powerless, competence when we feel like we're failing, and the connection we need when we feel most alone. This is not a weakness. The critical lesson is one of awareness. The line between a healthy escape and a damaging cycle of avoidance isn't drawn by the number of hours you play. It's drawn in by your mind, by the why behind those hours. Are you playing to recharge so you can better engage with your life? Or are you playing so you don't have to engage with it at all? The objective is not to feel guilty for all the comfort gaming provides. It's to approach it with intention, to use it as a tool, and not let it become your master. It's about building a life outside of the game that feels just as compelling and rewarding as the one on the screen. So this holiday season, be kind to yourself. Whatever you're feeling, the joy, stress, loneliness, it is valid. You are not alone. The journey isn't about achieving a perfect, stress-free holiday. It's about learning to cope in a way that is healthy, sustainable, and true to yourself. Thank you for watching, and have a merry, happy rest of your year. This is Amazing Warrior, signing off.
man whose steps leave no trace, a man whose voice sounds